More than a year after her explosive memoir, Mary Trump has released a new book entitled The Reckoning, Our Nation's Trauma and Finding a Way to Heal. In tonight's Prime reading, she shares her thoughts on the evils of America and its past leaders, including her uncle, Donald. Here's part one of my conversation with Mary Trump. Ms. Trump, thank you so much for joining me today. Your new book, The Reckoning, is so different from your first book. It deals with something I don't think we talk enough about, but that is all around us, which is trauma. Tell us a little bit about the book itself, what made you want to write it, and what readers should expect from it.
First of all, it's great to be here. I'm really pleased that you asked me on. Yeah, this book became something completely unexpected for me, because when I first started thinking about writing the next book, it was back in September, October, when on the one hand, it became clear that the Trump administration wasn't going to be doing anything to contain COVID and was in fact seemingly taking steps to worsen the problem. And we were pretty close to an election, which was pretty fraught. There was no way to know how things would turn out. So I felt like it was important to think about the fallout from the economic crisis, the COVID crisis, and the crisis of democracy, or at least the crisis of politics anyway, that the country was going through, and what was going to happen when we started to emerge from lockdown. The incidence of PTSD and anxiety and substance abuse disorders, et cetera, et cetera. And then as time went on, I realized that I couldn't do that effectively. So I thought what was much more important was to figure out how we got here, to the extent that I could figure that out. And that meant going back. How did we get to a place in our history where we were so susceptible to incompetent, corrupt, cruel leaders like Donald? And how did we get to the point where one of our two major political parties had become a party of fascism?
So how did we get there? I mean,
the very short version of that is to understand the extent to which two things have been operative since this country's inception and have intersected since this country's inception. On the one hand, we have our unacknowledged, or not unacknowledged, but the fact that white supremacy has essentially always been a mainstream issue. We've never acknowledged it properly. We've certainly never atoned for it. And now we see that it's essentially a platform for the Republican Party. And then on the other hand, we have the fact that this country has never been able, for whatever reason, to hold powerful white men accountable. And that starts with Robert E. Lee on down.
You are very vocal about being in favor of reparations. Why is that?
To say that reparations aren't necessary, or to say that reparations are somehow unacceptable or beyond the pale, is to suggest is to deny, American history. A lot of people who maybe don't understand how things have unfolded since Reconstruction say slavery ended a long time ago, get over it. But the truth of the matter is, as Brian Stevenson of the Equal Justice Initiative said, slavery didn't end, it evolved. So for the 100 years between Reconstruction and the Civil Rights Act of '64 and the Voting Rights Act of '65, the South in particular was essentially a closed fascist state, and African Americans were denied the franchise, they were denied advancement, they were denied equality of all kinds, whether it's in housing or schooling. And to pretend that there is not still an impact is to ignore not only the history between Reconstruction and the Civil Rights Act, but the 4 decades since then.
Our political trauma is one of our traumas. The other one we're experiencing right now is COVID. How much of what is happening right now around COVID do you attribute to the actions or inactions of Donald Trump?
I think he's largely to blame. The only reason he's not entirely to blame is because he wouldn't have been able to get away with what he got away with if he hadn't had the backing and enabling of his party. So, this continues to mystify me, but at every stage in his life, there have been people smarter, more powerful than Donald who've been willing to give him a pass, either because they agree with what he's trying to do or because they feel like they can use him to their own ends. So I think, certainly while he was still in the Oval Office, the blame is almost entirely his. I think that we need to be really clear about what happened. He wasn't just incompetent. He actively convinced people to put themselves and people they love and strangers in harm's way. And the result is in excess of 700,000 dead Americans, 650,000 of whom should still be alive. And we see this now perpetuated by people like DeSantis in Florida and Abbott in Texas, et cetera, all Republican governors. And the problem now is that it's out of control. And because we don't have enough people vaccinated, we're not going to reach herd immunity, and we're going to continue having to deal with stronger, wilier variants. So the blame absolutely starts with him, but the fact that other Republicans have taken a page out of his playbook and now believe, perhaps rightly, that the best way to get a grip on their political power is to convince Americans that their freedom to die is more important than anything else. It's quite something.
You have you have not kept your feelings about politics quiet. You have said that all Republicans in Congress are either insurrectionists or insurrectionist sympathizers, and you have compared Mitch McConnell to Robert E. Lee. Why is that? Why do you feel so strongly about that?
Well, as for the first part, we have at least 10, I don't remember exactly, but I think 10 senators who are still currently serving who sought to overturn the results of a free and fair election. I think that's a problem. And over 120 people, Republicans in the House of Representatives, and there have been no consequences to that, which is incredibly dangerous because the message there is you can incite an armed insurrection, you can be a seditionist, and you can still have a say in how this country is governed. As for Mitch McConnell, I think if we look back over his career, particularly since Barack Obama was in office, he's done everything in his power to use the system against us in a way. So in that regard, I think that the things he's done, getting rid of the filibuster for judges and Supreme Court justices, blocking Merrick Garland, pushing through Amy Coney Barrett, et cetera, have pushed this country, at least in terms of the judiciary, very far to the right in a way that it no longer represents the majority of the American people. And the fact that he's doing this within the government makes him, I think, in some ways even more dangerous because it's harder to identify what it is he's actually doing. At least Robert E. Lee staked his claim from the outside.
On a more personal note, this is something I've always wanted to ask you. Since you wrote your first book, what has been your relationship to the rest of the family?
There isn't one, which, makes perfect sense because I hadn't really been in touch with them, with the exception of my Aunt Marianne. I hadn't really been in touch with them since the lawsuit after my grandfather died, which was back in 2000. So I think I'd seen Donald twice. I saw him at his daughter Ivanka's wedding in 2009, I think, and then I saw him again at the White House in 2017 for my aunt's birthday party. But that had really been the only contact. It's very difficult to continue to have a relationship with your family after you've been completely disinherited, right? So it's also very difficult to keep a relationship with your family after you essentially write a book telling the truth about where they came from and how they got to be who they are.
So neither Donald nor any of his children have said anything to you, either privately, publicly, or anything?
No, I think, their way of communicating with people they disagree with, shall we say, is to sue them. And that's exactly what they did. My aunt and uncle sued me last year to prevent first the publication of my book and then to prevent my ability to speak about it. And not too long ago, back in the fall, I sued them because I believe they committed fraud against me after my dad died. So I guess this is how the Trump family communicates when they're not getting along. We trade lawsuits. The difference being, I think mine has some merit.
So instead of greeting cards, they're lawsuits. Okay. So
a little more expensive.
What do you say to exactly? What do you say to critics who say, this is because of the lawsuits? This is a way to grind an axe. This is a way to make money. Is to attack a very popular person who was the president of the United States, who happens to be your uncle.
I think it's a reasonable thing to ask. I think it's reasonable to be suspicious, especially, I would hope not anymore, but certainly before the first book, nobody knew I existed, and I came out of nowhere. My answer to that, though, is that if it had simply been about, grinding an axe, if it had simply been about getting a payout, I would have done it before he was the most powerful person on the planet. He was a very public figure for a very long time. I think that if I had written a similar book a few years earlier, there still would have been interest. But I had no reason to do that. I had no reason to want to be in the public eye. And I really didn't feel like, as much as I may have had an axe to grind, I certainly didn't feel I needed to do it publicly. And the impetus for the first book was how dangerous I believed he was. And, I needed something concrete to support that, which I did not have in 2016. And after the New York Times came to my door and reminded me that I had in my possession 40,000 pages of documents that could help them show that Donald and other people in my family had committed serious financial crimes, I finally felt, okay, I have something to back me up now. And we've got probably the most important election in my lifetime coming up in 2020. If there's anything I can do this time around, I'm going to do it.
Including if you have more documents to share?
I don't. If I did, I would. I would have all of them. I wish.
More Prime Reading with Mary Trump next. My conversation with Mary Trump continues. In part 2, she answers why her uncle could try to make a comeback in the next presidential election. Do you believe that Donald Trump is going to run for president again in 2024?
If you had asked me that question back in November, December of last year, I would have said unequivocally no. He just got humiliated in the 2020 election. Joe Biden beat him badly, and I think we saw his reaction to his loss just showed us how impossible it was for him to process it, because it was so devastating to his ego. So I never thought he would put himself in a position to lose like that again. But again, the Republicans come to the rescue, and now we find them not only backing the big lie that the election was stolen from him, but now they're backing his second big lie, which is that the insurrection either was a deep state thing or that it wasn't a big deal. So if the Republicans can, through voter suppression and gerrymandering and keeping the base stoked, put Donald in a position where if he did run, he couldn't lose. Why wouldn't he? He needs the power and protection of the Oval Office to keep himself out of prison.
So, Mary, lastly, back to the subject of the book. If you believe that Trump is going to run again in 2024, he's already reemerged on the political scene. How do we deal with the trauma if the trauma has not stopped, if it's not gone away, if the same trauma that we were experiencing has a potential to reemerge as it existed before?
Yeah, I just want to clear up one thing. I'm not saying he definitely will, because, you know, he's got lots of legal issues and lawsuits that he's staring down. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that the Republicans seem to be doing everything in their power.
But if he does?
If he does. You're right. I don't know that we can begin the healing process at all, because we all assumed that if Joe Biden won, that there would be this palpable sense of relief and we would all be able to relax again. And I think we saw pretty quickly that that was not going to be the case. First, because Donald kept spouting the big lie and all the Republicans kept supporting him. So there was all this uncertainty about that. And then, of course, the insurrection of January 6th happened. And now we find ourselves in a situation where, because of Donald's incredible weakness and failures of leadership and complete willingness to put people in harm's way, we're dealing with a significant, very vocal minority in this country who are doing everything in their power to continue the horrors of COVID. And, you know, I think we're in the middle of our fourth wave. We're probably looking at massive lockdowns again. So how do you recover? And we can't right now, which is why I think the most important thing the Democratic Party can do and the Biden administration can do is govern and show the American people that the government is for them, it is them, and that it can be effective in making people's lives better. And that can only happen if they start ruling like the majority they are. I don't care how narrow the margin is. They do have the majority and they need to use it.
Mary Trump, thank you again for your time. Again, the name of the book is The Reckoning, Our Nation's Trauma and Finding a Way to Heal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great to be here.